we are going to be talking about an interesting subject. And the subject at hand is negative emotions. So we're going to just have a refreshing conversation on it, though. And we are going to be chatting here with a spiritual teacher and a life coach, Rita. And we're going to dive into why clinging on to your fear or anger, guilt, and shame keeps us stuck, and how letting go can really unlock that true, like, freedom and openness that we are always looking for. And so we're going to chat with Rita as she shares us some practical insights and personal stories. So let's get started. And Rita, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are today.
Okay, Cindy, thank you so much for having me on today, by the way. I love talking to you and I love the community you've built that I'm a
Mm,
part of as well.
yeah.
So I work with stressed out professional moms. And the reason I do that is because I am a professional mom and I was super stressed out. And because I was juggling a
Mm.
lot of things at the same time and I wasn't doing very well. And so I was sort of my own guinea pig. I think a lot of coaches go through that. They
Mhm.
coach in the area where they had a big challenge and learned a lot of things, and then they want to share what they learned. And that's sort of, if I'm going to sum it up, what I do. I've learned how to, through a lot of trial and error and a lot of great teachers and coaches and therapists, learn some tools that helped me change my relationship to life.
Mm.
That it's not what happens. It's your response, your perception, your belief of what's going on that really can change the quality of your life.
Yes, and we all know, I think, that negative emotions can sometimes almost feel safe. It's interesting, that play there when there are certain things we're used to, and it kind of sticks with us for a really long time unless we are really intentional about changing that. So, can you maybe explain why sometimes clinging on to those emotions like anger, fear, or guilt, mine was a big one, was guilt, um, even when they hurt us? I mean, why do people tend to hang on to those things?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of reasons. One is it's the devil,
Mm.
it's familiar. I've
Hmm.
said, we're all looking for love, but we're attracted to the familiar, right? So we don't always make the best decisions in our lives. We often make the same, maybe harmful decision over and over again, thinking it's going to turn out differently, right? So I think
Hmm.
part of it is it's familiar, right? If you felt a lot of fear in your life or experienced worry, then worry seems like the best thing to do because it's there. It's the tool you have, right? When you only have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So I think that's part of it. I think also we sometimes get addicted to the physical, the chemical reactions in our body when something happens. And once again, it's like the only thing that you see that's viable to you. Um,
Hmm.
I think also for me, when I really drilled down into why do I keep going in this direction of, for me, it was fear and worry and stress. It was, this keeps me safe. This keeps me safe. If I'm not worrying, then something could come up and get me, could blindside me. That was a big one.
Mm.
If I'm not
Yeah.
afraid and I'm not worried, I will be blindsided. And it, after a while, the pain of where I was greater than the fear of letting go.
Yeah.
That's when
Yeah.
people make change in general. When
Yeah,
they're
you're
caught.
right. And that brings me up to my second thought is, what are some of the signs that someone might be stuck in that cycle of holding on to those negative emotions without even realizing it?
Yeah. Well, to me, it's all about patterns. So if I keep seeing the same pattern happening over and over, it may have a little different flavor to it, but what do they say? History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. If it feels like it's rhyming, if it's a pattern, you may want to look at that and go, what's going on? Why is it that I keep getting angry at people? Or why is it that I keep running into people that are violating my boundaries? Or why is it that, I keep saying I'm not going to do this thing and then I do it? Pay attention to that. What's going on? There's something underneath it. And it's usually some sort of, it could be stored trauma, like you're used to, this is where you go when you're stressed, right? So I'm not saying, this is not to say anything that this is your fault. I just want to just say that across the board.
Yeah.
It is people's fault, but they do have an ability to respond to it, which that's what I think responsibility is your ability to respond. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to control it. It just means that you can consider there's different ways to respond to things, and it may not be the same old, usually not.
Yeah.
So patterns to me, especially negative patterns, like you're always miserable, you're always tired, you're always afraid, there's always something to worry about. I was actually talking to my husband the other night, and he said to me, so what are we worried about now? Which I thought was a great conversation starter. And I said, me? Nothing, which was refreshing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's interesting. That's funny.
yeah. And I think also that's the other thing is, who will I be if I don't have this? Right? Like,
Yeah.
what are you going to talk about if I'm not complaining or worrying or afraid of something? Maybe I'll lose my friends. Maybe I'll lose my social group. Maybe
Yeah.
my marriage will be in trouble if I don't do this thing that I always do,
Mm-hmm.
So, so I'm kind of answering another question, but I see patterns, negative patterns coming up, things you don't like in your life over and over and over again.
Yep.
That usually
Yep.
means you're holding on to something that's not working for you. And it
Yeah.
probably has emotional underpinnings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I find out that a lot of what's under the surface is that emotional stuff. And when someone notices that they're stuck, what's the very first shift that you think they can make to start letting go of that and start moving to more freedom and openness and just acceptance?
Yeah. Well, I would say a couple of things. Noticing it is big. Just noticing, I think I'm stuck in this, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then stopping and breathing, just breathing through it. You're not trying to change it at this moment. You're just noticing and breathing. And breathing, slowing your breath down helps. Um, and a lot of times it doesn't mean that things are going to change or you're going to do anything particularly differently, but you've noticed that you have an issue. That's big, right? You own it.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
can't change what you don't own. So noticing it and the noticing of it also allows you to be more of an observer, and you can see you have a different perspective when you're an observer versus when you're in it.
You do, and I like how you're saying that. Yeah. And when you're an observer, you are kind of noticing things that might be, helpful points for pivot.
Yes.
So, and that's something that I don't think we often do. We do not often observe ourselves, and we just go with what's happening. And we're just, for me, I used to just tread water and just keep pushing through without really questioning or noticing, just feeling like that was the way it had to be.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering, how do you suggest that we release those negative emotions and how that can really make us a stronger parent, partner, grandma, professional, rather than feeling like we are losing control or we don't have control and just hanging on to that negative stuff?
Well, I would say if you don't have particular subconscious tools, this is a process that I would say you can do. So, and just so there's a lot of help out there with the subconscious. So this
Mm-hmm.
is aside from those things. A process that I've used a long time is just to pause. If you're in a situation where you can write things down, I've used this.
Mm-hmm.
Write out the situation that's so upsetting to you and how you feel about it, and then allow yourself to feel that way about it. Like, don't just try to change your emotion. And and to me, one of the things that I've done over the years is not beat myself up over it. Like, have a little compassion for yourself. Like, imagine
Mm-hmm.
this is your best friend telling you this story that you adore. What would you say to them? You wouldn't be like, oh, you're such an idiot. You'd say, I'm so sorry, honey, you're suffering with that. I'm so sorry. And sometimes I've been known to walk around the house just like patting,
Mm-hmm.
just going, I'm so sorry. And then I learned later that if you tap right there, it's actually very helpful to you. I was like, oh, I just do that naturally. Uh,
Well, yeah. So it's actually even those physical indicators, those physical interrupters, that we can
yes,
do.
you're
Yeah.
you're calming your nervous system, and you're just saying, I'm here. I'm so sorry. Oh, honey, I am so sorry you're suffering with this. And then sometimes even focusing on the sensation in your body that's coming up, whether it's pressure, weight, tingling, throbbing, whatever it is, that actually helps you to become more of an observer of your experience versus being thrown around in the waves of it. You're just focusing and going, okay, the body's telling me something's happening. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling sensations, and I'm sending it love. That's all I'm doing right now. I'm not trying to change anything. I'm just acknowledging it. Because isn't that what we all want anyway? To be acknowledged,
Hmm.
recognized, cared for,
Yes.
right? That's what we're all looking for all the time. And then,
Yes.
and then I've asked myself, if I'm journaling or I'm just walking around, what do you need right now, hun? What do you need? And a lot of times I don't know. Sometimes it's, I need to take a break. I need to take a pause. I need to take a walk. I need a hug. I need to know it's going to be okay. I need to know I'm strong enough to get through it, whatever it is. And then give it to yourself as soon as you can.
Mm.
Like, give yourself the hug, or picture yourself getting the solution, or get that glass of water, you know, or have that, geez, I haven't eaten all day. Oh my gosh, I need to sit down and eat something, or whatever it is. I need to slow
Hmm.
down. When you give yourself something that you ask yourself that you need, when you give it to yourself, what you say is, I'm important, I deserve this, I'm worthy of care, and you calm your system down. So, in other words, holding on to the fear is not keeping you safe. It's just indicating that you need something. And when you give that to
Hmm.
yourself, your whole body can just, in other words, you're changing the course of what you usually do when you have a negative emotion.
Yeah. And that can make a big difference, especially over time.
Yeah.
And I know that you've gone through this personally, just like I have. And what would you say is one surprising lesson that you learned about yourself when you finally decided to let go of all those heavy emotions?
I one of the things that I discovered when I let go, in a lot of let going, a lot of little here, little there, is that life is easier to deal with. Things get better, and I see solutions much more clearly and quickly when I'm not in fear, worry, anger, overwhelm. That actually does not allow my brain to solve the problem I'm trying to solve. And I become more capable and have more ability to respond when I'm not in that state. Oh,
I had to turn the microphone off for a minute. Um, and I really resonate with you saying that you become more able to respond. Um, and I think that that is kind of a lesson you learn over time.
Yeah.
You take that ownership, you kind of, by giving yourself a chance to observe and to relax and tune into what's going on, you build up your capacity to respond similarly in future situations.
Yes.
And, it's for myself, it was like 50 years. I started it maybe when I was 30 years old, a little bit of that opening up, but nothing like when I got in my 50s. And I'm like, you know what? This is not working. And so I kind of moved in that direction real quickly in my 50s. And that's a long time to wait.
It
So,
is. It is.
yeah. So I just love what you're sharing with people. And I know that you've got something really cool coming up. And I would like for you to share that with
Oh,
our audience and let us
thank
know
you.
all about it.
Okay, so I have a free workshop coming up. It's called Calm is the New Crushing It. It's an hour-long free workshop where I'm going to be talking about negative emotions. You're going to be bringing something with you to work on, and I'm going to be showing you, people are going to experience this subconscious reprogramming tool in the workshop so that you bring in your frustration, you bring in your worry, you bring in, you name it, and you're going to actually use the tool and do a before and after. And then obviously I'll be offering more services after that if people want to continue that. But I wanted people to have a taste of the ice cream. I could scream all day how great ice cream is or whatever, but if people don't taste it, they're not really going to appreciate it. So
Yes.
it's a taste of this to see. That's how I got into it, was I got access to the tool and got to use it and went, whoa, okay, I want more of this. So that's what I'm doing. That's going to be May 5th at 3 p.m. Eastern. And it's only going to be in my Facebook group. So they
Okay.
need to join the Calm Mom Alliant Facebook group. It's an exclusive workshop just for them. So first they join the group and then they can access the event on May 5th.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. And we'll put those links down here for anyone that's listening. And if you're watching the recording on YouTube, we'll put it down there in the show notes. And I'm curious about having a tool. I almost feel like if you have a tool, you almost feel more um, confident that it's going to work because you actually have a tool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's going to be really neat. And I like that four-letter word, calm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you're chill all day, every day. It doesn't mean that you don't have emotions anymore. You definitely have emotions. It's just that they don't, it's like surfing on the waves versus getting caught up in the waves and rolling around all day.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of scary. I love how you
Yeah.
just said that. Wow. When you think about that, it's scary. And we don't even realize how scary it is when we're in the middle of it. We're just trying to push through and get our head up above water. So having a tool that can help us just kind of turn on that calm and have access to it on the regular is a beautiful thing. So that's why I invited you here, Rita, because I am a member of your group and I have listened to some of your sessions in there, and I just wanted to be able to share that with my audience
Thank
as
you so
well.
much. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. I really do. That says a lot about you.
Oh, well, thank you. So what we're going to do is we're going to say goodbye to everyone, and we are going to put those links down, like I said, in the notes for those of you that want to connect with Rita. And so I think the best place for them to be able to interact with you on a regular basis would be in your Facebook community, right?
Yes, Calm Mom
Yeah.
Alliance. Yeah, there's a lot going
Calm.
on all the time.
Yeah. And, it's called the Calm Mom Alliance, which I am a mom. And whether or not you're a young mom or a mature, not mature, but well, I guess I'll say it, an older mom and even into the grandma zone, what you say just really hits home. So I'm officially inviting everyone to your group as well.
Oh,
All
thank
right,
you.
Rita. Well, thank you so much. And hopefully we will be in touch with you on the 5th of May.
Thank you so much, Cindy. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.